Now that the first month of Season 4 of Halo Infinite is officially done, and they've removed Ranked Slayer, I am really glad that they added it in during Season 4. I wish it didn't take so long, and I do hope it eventually becomes a permanent playlist like Ranked Arena, because for me personally, Ranked Arena is a miserable playlist that I just absolutely hate. But if it's your thing, that's cool. But I do have some criticism with what they did with it, and I hope they do it better in Season 5, because they made some really weird choices with Ranked Slayer, and I just don't know what they were thinking. Also, one of the things I want to see from Halo Infinite is, since we have Ranked Arena, the more sweaty tryhards that are more into the competitive stuff will have their playlist always. And I hope people like me who prefer Ranked Slayer or win Ranked Doubles, and I know it is now, but last season it had objective game modes in it. I just want to make sure that we have a Ranked Objective game mode and a Ranked Slayer game mode always, because I feel that'll help kind of keep the Ranked Slayer guys like me out of the Ranked Arena playlist, which will make just everyone's time so much better. And again, if you like Ranked Arena and that's your thing, like I have friends that like the playlist, nothing against you. I'm just not interested in holding balls and grabbing poles. I like killing Spartans instead. That is my thing personally. But if that's your thing, power to you, man. Now, the first thing I'd like to talk about when it comes to the Ranked Slayer playlist, and it was changed in Ranked Doubles, which this season it's all just Slayer, right? Ranked Doubles this season, it's the BR starts, but when it was Ranked Slayer, we had the Bandit Rifle / what I'm going to say DMR and AR starts. And it's an interesting choice because in my opinion, the Bandit Rifle is the weakest starting weapon in Halo Infinite, and it was an interesting idea to have it in the Ranked playlist first instead of the social playlist, where I think experimentation of the sort would be better. And I think the main issue I have with the DMR / AR start is that the AR is just such a better gun than the DMR. Like, it's just easier to use, and when I was first doing the Ranked Slayer playlist, I was using the DMR, and I was getting outgunned by people with the AR. As soon as I realized I needed to use the AR instead of the DMR, I feel it took some of the skill out of the playlist, and I think that could have been alleviated by just removing the AR, or just staying with the BR like all the other ranked playlists had, except maybe Ranked Snipers, which is a completely unique playlist to itself. I think it would have appeased more people just to have the BR start, and the Ranked Slayer playlist would have been even more popular if they just stayed with the BR start only, or if they just went with the DMR start only. And if they were going to keep a secondary starting weapon, I personally would have preferred if it was the Sidekick or the Commando, since those guns are just way more skillful than the AR is. Because the AR is very much just about who shoots first, and you don't really miss with the gun. And in the ranked playlists, it should be about player skill more than just who can pull the trigger slightly faster. And the final point on that is, it doesn't necessarily need to follow HCS rules. I don't mind there being a deviation from that with the Ranked Slayer playlist. But at the same time, I do think Ranked Slayer, as we saw it in Season 4, was not skillful enough. And a gun like the Bandit Rifle isn't necessarily bad, especially with its single shot and needing to be precise. I think it's good for skillful play and showing off who's the better player. But adding the AR was just a blunder, and I would like to see that fixed for Season 5. On a side note, talking about the deviation from the HCS rules and the way they do things, I'd like to know your guys' opinions on the fact that they had the radar in Ranked Slayer. I don't think it was a big deal. Like, I could live or live without it. But I do understand that not having the radar means that you have to use your skill set of map awareness and memorizing spawns. But on the other hand, it did make it easier to know where the enemies are. So what's your guys' opinion on that? Should Ranked Slayer have the radar, or should it go without like the other ranked playlists? Now, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the Ranked Slayer playlist is some of the maps that I saw in the game. The first thing I would like to talk about is, I don't know why they brought Behemoth back into Ranked Slayer. No one wanted to play Behemoth in the Social Team Slayer playlist. So why they thought to bring it back for Ranked Slayer is beyond me. I don't mind Behemoth necessarily in like Fiesta or other goofy game modes, but in the Slayer playlist, it's just a miserable map to play on. So I kind of hope it doesn't come back in Season 5, because it's just not a good map. It could be a good map if they made some adjustments to it, but the way it's set up in Halo Infinite currently, it's just Behemoth, man. It's just, I'm not a big fan. In my opinion, and Bungie's guilty of this too, Anytime that you put vehicles on a 4v4 map and you have to design the vehicle around the map, it never ends up good. And the other map that I don't think really belongs into the Ranked Slayer playlist is Cliffhanger. And I don't mind it in the Team Slayer playlist, which is the Social Slayer playlist, but I just don't think it belongs in a ranked experience because it's a really big map for 4v4, and there were a lot of power weapons, which kind of, in my opinion, lessened how much skill you needed in the game. Like, all I was doing was, like, getting the Bulldog and active camo, and you were pretty much dominating the game. Cliffhanger makes a decent social experience, but for a ranked experience, I could just live without it. And something I'd like to see 343 do is I'd like to see them add the community-made maps into Ranked Slayer. And if you don't want to add them into Ranked Slayer at first, that's fine, but at least add them into Team Slayer, the social variant of Ranked Slayer. Since they're not in any of the Slayer-only playlists, minus Starboard, which was in Ranked Slayer, and I thought it played fine. But I don't know why the community-made maps haven't made it into any Slayer playlists, because they're there in like Fiesta and other game modes. And a little off topic here, but I would like to see the ranked playlists get their own menu area like was in Halo 5 and the Master Chief Collection, because it looks kind of messy right now in Halo Infinite, and I know the menus and all that stuff needs work in Halo Infinite. After almost 2 years, it's still not really that great. But it needs its own ranked area because it just looks like crap. I'm sorry, but it just does not look organized at all. Thank you for watching the video if you made it this long into it. I do have a whole playlist with other Halo related videos that you'd like. Also, I have some other games like Call of Duty that I talk about, which I have some video ideas for Call of Duty I am going to talk about soon. If you have your opinions on the Ranked Slayer playlist or any other playlists in Halo Infinite, just put it in the comments, please. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you for watching the video, and...
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.